All these things are acting up. But hey, everybody, welcome to Unpopular Review, the entertainment side. I'm one of your hosts for the trio of Destiny, the Great Grand Slam Pooper, but we don't have the trio today. It's going to be I, and I'm joined with the outstanding, the executive consultant. Dude, you're a big fan of this show, Lois and Superman. You, for a while, was like, you guys should cover this. You guys should do it. We decided to do season two. So then that next week we can just go into season three and go through all of it in episodic form. That way we can go straight into season four. But real quick, how do you feel about this series, One Executive Consultant?
It's actually one of my favorite CW series, so I absolutely love it. I adore it. Y'all doing season 3 next? Did any of y'all watch season 3?
Yeah, I watched season three, but because it's been a while, so funny story. My mother loves this show, and I was watching it because of her. So some of these episodes are, it's kind of a blur, but I did see season three.
Okay, I binge watched season 3 right after I saw season 2, so a lot of it is more fresh for me. I would say I watched all of them in the last 2 months. Season 2, I liked them all. I liked every single season. I thought they all had their ups and they all had their downs, of course, but thoroughly entertained all of them.
No, I agree. This season was pretty fun. We had the first season, which was the introduction of the Kents. I'm sorry, I mixed them all up, but the Kents. You see that the emo son, he has the power, which I don't think I got a chance to say last week how much I actually enjoyed that they didn't give it to the athlete and gave it to the the emo son. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name, and they went a whole nother route. But in
Jordan
this, it
or
was
Jonathan?
Jordan. No, he's Jordan. Jonathan was the athlete. Thank you for that.
Well, he's gone. He's having real technical difficulties today. I'll tell him when he gets back. But I really wish he was still here to finish his point. But he'll be back hopefully in a few minutes. But season 3 of Lois and Clark, let me tell you something. I said it last week or 2 weeks ago whenever I was here. And I'll say it again. I really feel like they really captured and casted very well for the role of Superman and the role of Lois Lane. I just think it was a fantastic addition to the show. I think Lois Lane stole it each and every time. The fact that they put the family in there made it a different dynamic because we haven't really seen the family as far as the media. It's always been Superman by himself and then Superman with an addition of Lois. So them raising teenage boys I thought was very interesting, especially in the city of Smallville. Yes, I know we had the city of Smallville as a television show, but then coming back older. Very well done. Having some villains that were already established and also bringing in some villains that you might not have heard of. And that was pretty much the premise of season 2. This is a villain that wasn't really familiar with people. The same thing with season 1. That was a villain that really was not known to so many people. And welcome back, Bad Guy Jack. I see you got sucked into the fandom zone there.
I did. You beat me to that joke by 1 second, actually. But yeah, what was you actually talking about? Because I missed all that.
You were talking about Jordan and Jonathan and who had the powers. And fun fact, in case you did not know, not saying nobody knew this, but Jordan and Jor-El were named after Superman's parents.
Pop.
Both
a good call. Yeah, I didn't know that. I was gonna say in this season it was interesting to see Jonathan. He takes these pills that give him superpowers briefly, and you see how this pill is taking over this town. This very good, clean town of Smallville. So I thought that was interesting stuff. Something I also thought was interesting too was that they were starting to give. I felt like this season, and maybe in season 1 too, and I just forgot. But in season 2, they were giving some of the other casts some stories. So you had Lana Lang and her husband. I don't know. I just called him. He always had a beer in his hand, so I called him Heineken. So he was always drinking, and he had that storyline where he had infidelity.
Mm-hmm.
He was messing with another woman, and you saw a lot. So you know what? Something I actually didn't like, and I don't know if this bothers you so much. So I've seen now in superhero movies that they just reveal like I'm so and so, right? I got that Superman. He's gonna reveal it to his family. I didn't even think the father-in-law should have known, but whatever. But when this towards the end, as you aggressively type, it's towards the end that he he reveals to Lana that I'm Superman. I didn't think they need to do that. I just felt
No,
like
and that's a trope that CW has a lot in all their superhero shows where they have to announce to half the town who their superhero, who their secret identity, whatever it is.
right,
I agree. I did understand why they felt the need. I know they said they want to keep secrets, but there's a reason why you keep the secrets. So the fact that they had to tell the Lana and her daughter, I thought was a little bit ridiculous. They're not obligated to know. And then her being all upset about it, like, shut the heck up. You know, you can sit here and claim
right,
that you're stupid because you couldn't tell that the man's costume was glasses, but don't sit here and be all upset because he is the most important person in the world. He was trying to keep his secret identity as a secret for the safety of his family and you by whatever. So association. Right. So I didn't understand.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
It did. What did it said right?
And I like too that they. Do you feel like that they use this villain enough? Bizarro. I don't think they utilize him a lot, so I thought that was actually pretty cool too.
Bizarro is somebody they never used in the live action version, except for they might have did it in. I never saw
the animated. I think.
Right, I don't know if they ever used in live action, so I was intrigued. I will say this is one of the downs I will say about the season because I was a little disappointed in utilizing more. I did like the way they used them in this one by having it, of course, as an alternate dimension, which is a cliche in the trope now. But him being a Superman with a little bit of an edge. But he went out like a punk to me. I mean, like he went out and he did his thing where he was killing people, but he had, instead of just being an intelligent person speaking backwards and was like deteriorating because of whatever reason, he wasn't truly bizarre. And I know a lot of times, especially in live action, they tweak things a little bit, but I wasn't a fan of that. And like I said, the fact that he got killed so easily, in my opinion, so easily.
Because it's a Superman.
That's the only problem I had with this Superman. I say it all the time. I feel like in these movies, this show, he gets beat up by a whole bunch of people who always ends up having some form of his powers, right? And then he gets saved by a hammer from steel or whatever. And I'm not
like an apple. Right. Because it's Superman.
I'm not a fan. Exactly, Superman.
It's Superman.
He overcomes all the time, but he's been saved so many times by so many different people. It's annoying.
I think they tried to.
Or are you not?
I hear what you're saying, and I think what they tried to do is make a balance because Superman is one of the most, and this is one of the reasons why I felt I wouldn't be a fan of this show because I said it's Superman. What can really stop Superman? Because you're not going to throw Doomsday out there immediately, right? So I think they try to find a balance. They tried to, because I felt like they also kind of not overdid it with the kryptonite, but it was like it kind of gets on my nerve that everyone has this. Because I feel like it's a rare item, but yet everyone has it. I hear you on that. We did get a little bit more of the brother, who I like. I think he's a fantastic character. He's actually pretty funny. He seemed like that really cool. I don't know if you see what's going on in the chat, but it's funny. I was just gonna say, it seemed like everyone had this. I said the kryptonite, but I also said the brother. It was nice to see him in there as well. I think there's a spot too where he gets locked up, Superman, right? Like they lock him up, and him and his brother got to work together.
Yeah, it was interesting to see them having to work together. But once again, Superman, you're not going to keep him down. You like this brother. I'm not a fan of his brother. His brother kind of annoys me. I know they gave him a bit of more personality.
Okay.
I just find him boring. Brother. I hate that with these. I get this from soap operas too. Like when you find out that somebody's your long lost sibling, everything is, brother. You get the good one. They loved you. They didn't love. Shout out to Dan. He said the typical "Why do you tell me your superhero name?" cliche. Well, that's what happens in a lot of these shows and movies with the long lost brother that's been separated. Like, you got the lovey life. I didn't get the lovey life. I had to go through this. My father didn't love me. Oh, daddy didn't love me. It's a little bit annoying at times, which is why I don't believe he really returned to season 3, even though that was the original intention, which is why they went to that tease where Lana is his wife. But he'll be back.
Yeah, but that was another future though, right? Like she was from another. Because I remember they had that weird thing where they were like, there was like a Lois, but she was from from another world, and same thing with Lana, and she had like superpowers and stuff.
Correct. But then that Lana was his I can't remember Tyler or something like that. I can't remember his name. But that was his wife. However, he wanted to know who his wife was in that dimension. So he went over there to learn and to the fact that he was going to be a one man in the real, I'll call it the real universe.
Main timeline.
But since he found out he had an eyebrow raise, so that means that he's going to be, all like, oh, I want the Lana in my universe now. And they didn't explore that in season 3, but I think they just put it on ice for that season so they can revisit it in season 4. Personally, but we'll get with that when we talk more about season 3. But like I said, it had ups and downs. I mean, the Parasite villain I thought was good because it was a new villain. And it was a different version of Parasite. This is a similar version to what they have in the comics, because much like we mentioned Clayface earlier when you and I were talking, Clayface has more than one person who played Clayface in the comic books. There's more than one Parasite. Everybody knows the Parasite who's just like big and purple or something and just like, taking somebody's powers. But it was also this version too. And they called her Parasite toward the end, but
that's nice.
It was I liked it. I thought the story was moving. I did like the mirror versions of a lot of these people.
It's funny. I'm not a fan of those kind of things. But carry on. I'm sorry.
Not always, but I thought what was it? Jordan and who was the other
Jonathan. No, Jonathan had a Jonathan. Yeah. Matter of fact, I actually like. You know what I liked about Jonathan's mirror version, and we were talking about comics, and sometimes they take like liberties and stuff. But I did like that they tried to give him like that Superboy look from the 1990s, and I always thought that was a unique look. When after they killed Superman, and you had the introduction of Steel, Superboy, and there was another one. He was like half Superman, half robot. I forget his name, but I did appreciate that they brought that look, and they just
Superman half what?
He was Superman, but he was half metal.
Okay. I thought you were about to have a cyborg incident, like C did.
No, absolutely. I know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. No shade. It's already cool over here. But that was so good. I usually I would have got 5 points for that on a Tuesday. But yeah, I didn't shut up. But I do appreciate that they did that and brought that look in there. I just wanted to mention that. And I forget because all these seasons rank kind of combined to me. Did we get the introduction of Lex Luthor in this season?
No, season 3.
That was 3. That was season. Okay, yeah. That makes actually a lot of sense.
Yeah, I did like the mirror character of Jordan. Lois still stole the scenes for me. I thought it was good drama with Lana's husband, who I didn't know was Hispanic at first. It just came out of nowhere to me.
Really? I didn't know that either.
That he was Hispanic.
I thought he was a Heineken because every time I saw him, he was drinking.
So I will say that I thought that was very well done. But once again, I mentioned this last week, and I didn't want to talk about it then because she wasn't on really, except for the last few minutes of season 1's finale. Sure. I really did not like Steele's daughter. She just annoyed the hell out of me the entire season. I couldn't stand her. I just wanted her to get back on the ship and go to another dimension. She just really bugged me that much. All she did was whine and cry. And
what? Because she wanted to go home?
No, everything she did was a whine and a cry to me. Oh, they want to be here. Like, she was a smart ass and needed to be slapped a few times. I mean, just terrible child.
And that's the show. I don't know how to follow up after that because you're just an angry old man. But I can't wait to talk about season 3. Go through it episodically. We get to talk about that particular episode and get into season 4 because these last 2 seasons, I gotta say, I think you noted on the head. There's some hits and there's some misses, but for the most part, I'm really intrigued by this show. I like what they've been doing. I don't know if I asked you this live, but in the next season they do a cast swap for Jonathan. How did you feel about this kid who was playing Jonathan for the first 2 seasons?
I thought he was great. I thought they casted, like I said, they casted very well for this show. Outside that little brat girl, but when season 3 came up, and once again we'll talk about this next time if I do the show. I really thought that I was not a fan of switching because I thought the other one did a fantastic job. and
I agree.
I didn't want to see him gone. I would have rather see Jordan gone as opposed to Jonathan, and I didn't want Jordan to go either. But Jordan was a little punk kid that annoyed me too, but not as bad as that bratty girl that's daughter is still in Lois Lane. However, I will say that the one in season 3, after 1 or 2 episodes, I got over it. He actually fit very, very well. And I will even go further and say that those two look more like twins than the original Jonathan and Jordan.
Right, because they were supposed to be twins, right?
Right. They look more like twins. They don't have to necessarily be identical, but they look more like twins. So after
Yeah.
a while, it did work okay with me.
All right, there you go. So I can't wait to do season 3. Hopefully you're on with us too when we do this for next week on Wednesday. We'll be back here around 7:30 ish. We started pretty late, but we thank you guys for being here and watching. We want to say shout out to Dan the man. Oh well, actually Dan the man. He's on later tonight, isn't he?
I was about to say, it's Wednesday. He'll be on. You know what that means.
Yeah, good job, fantastic. And KO Kid TV, fantastic. With that said, that's the show. We'll talk more Superman next week. Where's this damn outro? Oh, here's this outro. Fantastic.